I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here officially. Thank you all for being here. If this is your first time joining one of these sessions, this is a brand new series that we're in the middle of. And we're bringing you the absolute best in how you as an organization can market, sell, and lead through this time of crisis. And the way we're doing that is by bringing you thought leaders like Cece Smith, who's here today, folks who are actually making it happen in this tough time. And so if you're an agency or if you're a commercial printer, if you're a B2B organization, a B2C organization, if you're in leadership, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, you want to learn more about what's actually working right now, then this session is for you. And we've done, like I said, a number of these over the past, it's been about a couple of months here now that we've been in these. And so if you've missed any of those sessions, I want to make sure that you can get those if those are of value to you. So if you look at the screen here, you should all be able to see the screen. We've done sessions on LinkedIn with Brian Galad, one of the LinkedIn experts that we brought on for you. Mike Robinson, I think Cece knows him as well. Some of you know, has grown Summit Direct Mail to over 40 million using Optichannel as part of their core strategy. We've taught you the social selling playbook. We've helped you with LinkedIn. We've talked about how to run events like this. And if you've missed any of those, if you want to see any of these sessions that we've done so far, drop the word recording either in Zoom or over there in LinkedIn, and we'll follow up and we'll get you these recordings, all right? And so Mac, I know McKinsey's behind the scenes here. Some of you know. We'll be following up with you. Just drop the word recordings like you see here on the screen if you missed one of these episodes, and we'll send you a link to where you can go grab all of them. Okay, first couple things I want to make sure that you have, a couple resources. And if you're watching this via recording, if you're not watching this real time with us right now, still feel free to reach out for these things. Couple things I want to make sure you have. Number one, let's connect on LinkedIn. So McKinsey, if you don't mind, drop that in the different chats. I want to make sure we stay connected on LinkedIn. And the reason for that is that we're investing heavily in bringing you these types of sessions. And I want to make sure that you know about it. And so one of the best ways to do that these days is on LinkedIn. So let's make sure we're connected on LinkedIn. Please go send me a connection request and let's get connected there. McKinsey is dropping a bunch of these URLs here in the chats, all right? So that's the first thing. Second, where are my printers at? How many of you are printers? Drop me the word print in the chat if you're a printer. Maybe you're an agency and you use print. Marketing services company, you use print. There we go. I see the print coming in. So for those of you who are in print or related to the print industry, we have a private group, the COVID-19 print group. If you're not a member of that yet, join. McKinsey gave you the link there in the chat a moment ago. That's a group that we've created to help support the print community through the COVID-19 crisis. And I won't go into all the detail here. You can go join and take a look later. But one of the things I think you're going to find most valuable there is the fact that we bring you leads. As we find opportunities, leads, and business opportunities for you, we post them there in the group. Now, because you're not all checking LinkedIn as obsessively as maybe we here at MindFire do, we also have a text group that you can join. So if you want to get notified of these new leads in quasi real time, text me. That's my number right there. McKinsey has dropped that in the chat. Text me, and we'll notify you when those are available. We'll give you the link. We'll give you some insight, and you'll be able to go there, look at those leads, and hopefully use that to grow your business. So if you want my cell phone number, McKinsey, go ahead. Please drop that into the chat for everybody. Go ahead and text me. It'll opt you in, and we'll be connected, and hopefully that'll help you and your folks continue to drive sales. Thank you, Mac. All right, so I'm excited to bring you this interview today with Cece Smith. She's the CEO of ToolBox Studios, and we're going to explore how she's been able to lead her organization through 2020. I don't need to describe to you what that means. You know 2020 has been a beast. And we're really going to look at carefully how she's been able to find new clients and how she's been able to engage her customer base by bringing them solutions that achieve ROI, even during these difficult times. It's been a tough year for so many. And yet, like many of you, she's been able to dig deep, find new strength during these tough times. So in a second here, I'm going to have Joe introduce Cece. But before he does that, let me just tell you how we're going to run this session so that you know what the lay of the land looks like. First, as I said, we're going to introduce Cece. She's going to come on. Then we're going to walk you through her story. We asked you for your questions coming into the session today. And a lot of you want to know, how'd she start? How'd she create this agency? Also, a lot of you want to see real life examples of what she's doing. So we're going to walk through that. We're going to try to answer your questions in kind of the three buckets that we saw coming in from you. One, how are they marketing? How are they selling right now? Second, what kinds of solutions is she offering? And third, what do those solutions look like? So we're going to walk through your top questions in each of those. And as we go through it, keep asking your questions. Mackenzie, who's behind the scenes, is going to curate some of the top questions. We're going to answer those live on the air. Whether you're watching us right now in Zoom, Facebook, I think, is having some issues this morning. So you're probably in LinkedIn or Zoom this morning. Keep those coming in regardless of the channel. And Cece, I think on your agenda later today is just baking cookies, you said. You've cleared your schedule for us. You've agreed to stick around for another 30 minutes or so to do real-time Q&A. So folks, we're going to answer everything that's on your mind. And with that, let's bring Cece up. Joe, let's get Cece introduced here.
Thanks, Dave. So I'm really excited to introduce my good friend, Cece. I partnered with Cece almost 8 years. Wow, I can't really believe it. It's hard to believe how fast 8 years is gone by. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working very closely with Cece and her team. I've been to her office many, many times. We've guest spoken many, many times, lunch and learns and customer visits. And I'm always amazed by her abilities. She's simply amazing, and I'm sure you're going to be as well. So with that, welcome, Cece.
Well, I'll send you your $20 later after saying that, all that nice stuff about me. So good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I hope I can add some value and help and give you some ideas that will help you in your own business. So glad to be here.
Well, I'm sure you definitely will, Cece. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, we're going to divide this interview with you, as you know, into three sections. First of all, talk about your story. People want to know and get to know you better. So we're going to start there. Then we're going to dive into marketing and sales as it relates to what you've done for your organization to find new customers and to sell them these solutions. As you know, on everyone's mind right now is driving revenue. So folks are really interested in knowing how you've been able to do that. And then thirdly, we're going to talk about how you actually create these campaigns, weaving together all of these different channels and using Optichannel. So that's what we're going to do today, folks. Thank you again, Cece, for being here. And Joe, let's take it away.
Yeah, so thanks, Dave. So Cece, I know everyone's dying to see examples of your work. But before we do that, I'd love for you to share your story, how we got to where you are today, and just simply let's tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see, how did I start? It's funny because I never ever thought or dreamt that this is what I wanted to be. So, you just kind of got to follow what it drives you and what motivates you and what excites you. And I think that's how I ended here. My husband and I own Smith Print. We've been in business for 25 years. We started when I was 7 months pregnant and I was still working for Procter Gamble. And we started that business out, and I worked for Procter Gamble and he did that, and we grew it and grew it. And at first we were just kind of a broker, and then he always had this crazy dream of wanting to own his own print company. So we did that. Slowly but surely it kept growing, and now we've got all kinds of presses and capabilities and all that good stuff. So when I had my second son, Jake, who's an intern for me, I decided that I wanted to stop working and stay home and be a mom. So I did that for 10 years. And then I think it was a God thing, but in 2007, I decided, you know what, it's time for me to go back to work. And so I went into help Smith Print. Help. I was just like, just kind of, just a little bit of here and there, clean things up a little bit. We were growing. So, process was important, and I'm kind of process driven. So I was just going into help. And then the next thing you know, my husband is giving my services of a marketer away, like, oh yeah, Cece will write your content for your brochure. Oh yeah, that's not a problem. And I said, wait a minute, people pay for this. And I'm not going to be giving away, especially with, as we know, there's pretty small margins sometimes in print. So we decided to kind of start a little marketing branch department, if you will. And when we did that, it was called Red Door Solutions. And I started off with just one, Shauna, you can see her picture. She's all the way to the right there. She was my first employee, and she did our very first MindFire campaign, like within the first week of getting on board. And she's still with me. And we slowly grew. And then in 2014, I had the opportunity to buy ToolBox Studios. So ToolBox Studios was a full service branding and web company. They did not do ongoing marketing, and we did marketing, and we didn't do web and branding. So when I bought the company, we brought the two organizations together. My clients needed ToolBox's services, and their clients needed our services. So it was a perfect marriage. We've been able to maintain almost, I would say probably now about 90% of all the clients that we brought together. And really buying ToolBox really kind of launched us into the marketing world and nationally. We have clients all over the country. So that's how we started. It was very organic. It just kind of kept following the opportunities and kept saying yes and trying and doing all that. And we love what we do. And I think, as you can see, I've got a beautiful team there. Inside and out, brilliant. And the most important thing I could say is that I surround myself with brilliant people. So Katie, who's on chat right now, and Shauna, I see she's there as well. Ken is as a visitor on here. He's the good looking guy behind the T. He only has 45 years of experience. So we've got a very diverse group. So that's how we ended up here. And we've been in business now for 7 years. So that's how we got started. It was strictly by demand. People kept asking us, and we just kept saying. And I think what really, I guess I should kind of bring out, what really launched us was when I went to D-Scoop for the first time, and I met my dear, dear friend Andy, who's on this call. We're still friends, and that's when I met Joe and MindFire. And when I learned that, when I saw what they were doing, and I said, nobody's doing this in San Antonio. This is amazing. And I just saw the opportunity for marketing, and so that's been our driving force behind how we started.
Yep.
Sorry if it was too long.
No, that was awesome. You've been very successful, and we've loved the journey. But as you can see on the screen, we've got a bunch of different verticals that you work with. So tell us a little bit about the different verticals you're working with.
I work with, so I don't, a lot of people, and sometimes this is an advantage and sometimes it's not, but we work with anyone that needs marketing. And in our strategy, we've been very specific on who we want to work with. We want to work with someone, they've got to value marketing and see it as an investment and not as an expense. We want to work with people that can use at least 2 of the 4 services we provide. We've got to have people that typically, I work with the CEOs or the owners or the top leadership. They have to ultimately want a relationship. Typically, we don't just go in and do something and then leave. Typically, it's a long-term relationship. We might start off with a website or a brand or something like that, but then it morphs right into everything else. So we work in financial wealth. We work in manufacturing, custom manufacturing, B2B, B2C, nutraceuticals, supplements. It's just across the board. We're always looking for people that just need help with their marketing. And typically they're customers who don't have a marketing department. And then the way that I present myself and our team is, you know what, for the price of a full-time marketing person, fully loaded with benefits and everything, you can hire my team of 10 and have every skill set you need. And that's how we present ourselves. And so we go across all kinds of verticals.
So Cece, in case folks want to connect with you and learn more, Mackenzie, if you don't mind, I think you already did it. Let's go ahead and drop Cece's LinkedIn profile there in the chat, both on the LinkedIn side as well as in Zoom. Awesome. Thank you, Mackenzie. And the link to your ToolBox Studios page there on LinkedIn. And so folks, feel free to do that. We'll give it to you again at the end to make sure you have that. And you'll definitely want to get connected there with Cece. Tell her that you're seeing her here on the webinar, whether you're watching it in real time or if you're watching this in a recording. So Cece, I know we have a lot of commercial print folks here with us today, folks that are involved in print in one way or another. And you mentioned Smith Print already. And when we had kind of our kickoff meeting, our pre-meeting, you know, it's clear to me, especially because I've known you for a couple of years, that print is part of your DNA. And it's really helped shape what ToolBox has become. So can you tell us a little bit more about Smith Print and how that has become part of your story?
Right. Smith Print is, like I said, 25 years old. I love print because I just think there's so many unique ways that you can communicate via print. It's effective. We know it's effective. It's not dead. And there's a lot of opportunity. We have a full service shop. That handsome guy on the left is my oldest son, Matt. The guy in the light blue in the middle is my husband, Barney, and that's Manuel, one of our pressmen. And but below, you can see my 3 boys who are in transition. Matter of fact, in January, they'll be taking over the company, and my husband will be definitely sunsetting and playing a lot of golf. So, but we're full service, and they're really, really good at what they do. And so how we work together with them is we run our companies completely separate.
Okay.
And so it's how my husband and I've been married for 27 years. He works over here and I work over here. And so, but we do have a lot of synergies. You know, we bring, all my print goes through them. And then they refer people to me and we go back and forth. And I think what's most critical as a marketer is that, you know, I'm very transparent. I'm like, just so you know, I own this company. I own 50% of it. And, but they're comfortable with that. They know they're going to get a great print job because they're, you know, working with someone who knows print.
Yes.
And then the other thing, and some people think I'm kind of silly or ridiculous for doing this, but I know you printers sometimes get really upset when you work with a marketing firm and they, you know, they get your print quote and then they double it and then you lose the print job because it's too expensive. We don't do that. I am very transparent and I let Smith Print bill the client directly. We get paid for the services of the press check and all the design and all that. So that it's really been helpful because they see the transparency, but they also know that we're going to make sure that the quality is there that they want. And so many of them are grateful because as you guys know, it's a complicated process.
Mm-hmm.
And we lead them through that. So that's how it works together. A lot of referring back and forth, a lot of synergies.
So one thing I'd like to underscore there for the audience, whether you're in LinkedIn or in Zoom, if you run a print organization, if you're thinking about how do I make the leap? I know a lot of you are asking this question. How do I transition into offering these kinds of marketing services on Optichannel and what we're talking about today? This is one strategy. It's what's worked for Cece and her team. And so if you have any questions about how they did that, like I said, we're going to stick around and answer all of those questions. Let us know over there in LinkedIn. Let us know in Zoom if you want to know more about that strategy and how that works for them, how they've been able to do it, because I know many of you are considering how can we do the same. So I want to make sure we get your questions answered. So Joe, I know as we mentioned at the start, a lot of people want to see examples, right? Folks love examples. So I'm going to turn it back to you. Let's get into the first example of some of the work that Cece and her folks do.
Absolutely. So this is a really exciting opportunity. It's a case study on a custom food manufacturer that we cannot name that Cece secured. And, you know, as I was thinking back on this journey, Cece, the first thing that popped in my mind, because I frankly forgot, because we talk about so many different new opportunities and strategies, but how did you create and find this opportunity? Can we start there?
It's kind of curious. So the person that was my contact there actually moved from Chicago from another company and was a friend of someone I knew on LinkedIn and a colleague. They worked together. And so the LinkedIn person reached out to me and said, hey, I have a good friend moving to San Antonio. She knows no one. Would you mind reaching out? So I did via LinkedIn, and I just invited her over to our office for a drink. And it was after hours. I mean, you know, hey, coffee, drink, whatever it takes. Yeah. And she came and we started a friendship and, or just a relationship. It wasn't like we went out and did things together, but we just kind of stayed in contact. She wasn't a marketer. She was a food scientist, which is a fascinating field.
Wow.
And so about 2 years ago, they were ready to redo their website. And so she reached out, we pitched it, we didn't get it. They went with somebody that always kind of undercuts us with our pricing. And about a year later, she came back and said, okay, so we got our new website. We should have gone with you. It was a horrible experience. I'm like, that's okay. I still love you. It's okay. Don't worry about it. And she said, but now we need to start generating leads. And I said, well, let's talk about it. So we just started that way. And that's how it happened. It was just, and it's been a couple of years nurturing that.
That's awesome. And power of relationships, LinkedIn, and again, just staying in touch. All right, so let's take a look at what the heck we did. They want to generate some leads. So we sat down, we developed a strategy, and the strategy was amazing. It shows the power of valuable marketing. So Dave, next slide, and there we go. So it all started with,
yeah, so you want me to, I'll go through this. So let me give you a little bit of background about this client. They don't have it's a B2B client. They do custom manufacturing. They are the people that make the product that they send to a chain restaurant, that then the chain restaurant acts like they made it in the back. So, but it is a custom recipe. The food scientist that I worked with, that's what her job is to help people decide, what's trend, what kind of new recipes should they be adding to their menus. So, and they work with large chains. They don't like with, Cracker Barrel, Panera's, big ones. So, and they do all different kinds of things. They do proteins, they do sauces, sides, and what was the last thing? I'm trying to remember what it was. Sauces, sides, yes. And I can't remember the last one right now. But anyway, so the reality is there's not hundreds of thousands of targets.
Soups, Cece.
Soup, thank you. Soups, I should know that. It's cold and I'm gonna make soup today. So they don't have, they don't have a list of 10,000, right? They don't. And the other thing is the people that are the decision makers that they need to get to are very, very, very protected. They're not going to trade show. They're not, these people are the food scientists within these big chain restaurants. So they're very isolated. They're hard. It's hard to get through. So when we talked about it, I said, well, okay, we need to do something unique, and then this also all happened literally. They wanted to start this in May of this year. So we're like, are they even on The Office? How are we going to, we were thinking of traditional things like Facebook pin drops or digital advertising or things like to supplement it, but we didn't know where all these people work. Were they working from home? Were they in the office? We didn't know. And also we had a total of 15 names, but they wanted to start with 5. And when I told Joe that, he's like, 5? And I said, 5. So I was like, that's scary. But the reality is, if they got one customer, the very first order, 10 times the return on investment, just with the first order. Think about if they started serving the macaroni and cheese at Panera's and did that around the country. So quick. So keep that in mind as you think about pricing these things. It's not about what it costs you, it's about what the value is. Always remember that. And so we had to get really creative. And so the other thing is they had no marketing people on their staff. So I was working with this food scientist. So why don't you go ahead and go to the next slide. So we came up with an idea of sending a very personalized gift to them. Our very first touch was, we were sending it to chefs. So they bought a very nice chef knife and we packaged it in, and you can't see it, but this wrapping paper was actually branded and we printed a wrapping paper for them. And then inside the box was, this is just a printout real quick, but it was right inside that laid right on top of the knife was a customized, personalized letter to them, asking them to tell us what they're interested in, if they wanted, that we'd like to visit with them. So they're a very high-end gift. We sent it, we sent them an email saying, you're going to get this gift. Here's the tracking number through FedEx. Once we know it was delivered, we sent an email to them saying it's been signed for by, Joe Smith. And on, October 1st, did you receive your package? And then on the inside, as you can tell, the sleeve that went around it, it was personalized to the person it was going to. So on the outside, on the inside, were all personalized pieces.
Amazing.
It really turned out well, So that was the first touch. We had Cracker Barrel came in from that one. They're in talks. And imagine if they get, I mean, and the process is after they get in and talk to them, it becomes a long process of, well, let's look at your menu. What's trending? Where do you have holes in your menu? So it's a long process, but the hardest part is getting in. So Cracker Barrel came in and they're working towards a couple new menu items for them. So that was the first touch. And they told me, if we get one, we're happy. I'm like, dear God, please give them one, you know? And we got one. So we were super excited. So the second touch was this box. And it was a 12 by 12 box. I actually have one here.
Wow.
And it was filled with, once again, we sent them an email. We're sending you a package. We actually sent a picture of the package on the email that we sent through the campaign. And then once it was delivered, once again, we sent, signed for by Tom Smith. And then they got the box. And then from this came in 3 more leads. What was inside the box was a very personalized, this was for Applebee's, obviously. And it was a menu showing them their menu items, but showing their ideas, the companies that I'm working with, their ideas of their new items that they should add to their menu. So everything was personalized. It was a menu for them. It was laying on top of the box. When they opened it, it had their name. It outlined what the new ideas were. And of course, a letter with a call to action and the personal URL. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, what was interesting about this box is we had 4 layers in it. We wanted to do something that was disruptive. We wanted to do something that was unique. I mean, if somebody let's face it, right now, a lot of people are working at home. So I said, we need to send them a package because people are going to call and say, hey, you got a package here, a big package here. And so we needed something very unique. So then what we did was we put 4 layers in here, and those are real bowls that were, thank God for that sticky glue stuff. And we put in what their recommendations were. So these were pictures of the recommended recipes or the sides or whatever it was that we were recommending to them. And we printed these and they were, had both sides. So it talked about their capabilities. So this was a side and it talked about their capabilities and what they had, and that would come out of it. And see, these were layered in the box, and they would pull one out, once again, wrapped with their customized wrapping paper and all of that. So when these came in, the experience was fantastic. They actually got a letter, an email from the Applebee's guy, and it said, this was amazing. I think what was most critical about this was that it was dimensional. But the other thing is that they took the time to invest in what they wanted to tell that client. It wasn't just like, hey, give us a call if you're interested. It was, we've been thinking about you. And this is what we've been thinking about you. And that was powerful. Instead of just, hey, call us if you need something kind of a thing. So they got in 3 more leads. So they've gotten 4 of the 5.
Cece, if I can interject real quick, there's a question coming in fairly often here. How did you get the home addresses to these folks, or did you mail it to their office?
So it was funny because the client said, well, we should send them an email asking them if we should send it to their home or to their office. I said, nobody's going to reply to that. I just told them, I said, nobody's going to reply to that. And I said, we can try it. And we did. And guess what? No one replied to it. And so we went ahead and sent it to the office. Okay. And that's why we thought it was really important to send them the tracking number, to send them a picture of what we were sending them, so that, they were curious. They were curious. And so I think that that's where the success was. There was the email that we sent where we showed them, hey, we're sending this to you. Be on the lookout for it. And highly personalized. Once they landed on the landing page, there was a video by the CEO, talked about, hey, what are you interested in? And these were people they've not had conversations with. They've never met with these people at all. We were able to get their emails through, they're doing a lot of research and begging friends for emails. So we did have their email, which was helpful, but we did deliver it to the home office. So this was one of the landing pages, the thank you. This was kind of the first time we ever did this. They wanted that landing page, the thank you page, to look like their website and to be able to navigate to their website. So that bar across the top, assured supply, that would take that person to their website. And we put it on the thank you page because then we knew we completed it, right? So of course, then they got the recap email. Hey, thanks for being interested, click here to watch more videos or what have you, help them get some more information.
So before we go to the next case study, I just want to make sure, folks, if you have any questions about the incredible stuff that you just saw here, throw it into Zoom, throw it into LinkedIn. Mackenzie and Katie behind the scenes are going to pull those questions, and we're going to come back and throw those at you, Cece, so that everyone gets their questions answered. And if folks, if you just got value out of this, if you're in Zoom, hit some likes or some hearts or drop us an X in the chat, Zoom and LinkedIn, if this was just absolutely mind-blowing to you. I see Craig saying, brilliant, I'm blown away. I'm seeing a bunch of yeses, big hearts coming in from Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, I know this will speak to you. I know that you're passionate about this kind of creativity. Sharon says, fabulous. Awesome stuff from Jeff. Yeah, we're seeing all the kudos come in here. Thank you for sharing that, Cece. So Joe, what about the next one here?
Yeah, and just real quick, a tie down point on that last one. Cece, I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about different avenues and what's going to resonate and what's not. But what really speaks to this entire program is the depth of you understanding what the customer objectives were, and then all the steps we built around that at a highly personalized level, each individual brand receiving something unique to them. So, again, this is what effective marketing does. And that's the value of having a great team and partner to help you. All right, let's go to the next case study. And by the way, that first one, for those folks on the call that are offering marketing services, that's a great example of how you can offer enhanced marketing services. But also important to everybody on this call is if you don't have an active self-promotion program in today's world that's continuously educating your customers, shame on you. And that's what we started last year with Cece and her team. I had a long discussion with Cece in December, and I came back to her in January and said, Cece, we've got to kick off the new year and get busy. And I've got an idea, and let's talk about it. And so here, let's talk about this website checkup. What the heck we were doing there, Cece?
Yeah, just real quick. Just one last thing about that other campaign that we did. The thing that I would really encourage you to do when you do something, well, and let me tell you what the value of that campaign was for me. Is that okay if I say that? Share that?
Absolutely. Share away.
I billed the client almost $32,000 for that campaign. The print never came up. The question about how much is that going to cost? Nothing at all. The cost of it was maybe 7, 8. So the key here, and I want you to really, really, really think about this. Joe is really good about this. And I want you to take off your printer hat for a moment, because, we're always thinking about, we got to be competitive on price and all that. What is the value you're bringing? What's the potential of the ROI? I mean, they told me if we get one lead, we're happy. And we got 4 or 5. So don't sell yourself short. And you always need to be talking to them about what's the value of a new client. You should know that number. And if they won't share that with you, you got to dig deeper. Say to them, well, if it costs this much, how many new clients do you need to cover that for you? Always be talking about that return. So.
All right, website checkup. And we said we got to kick the year off. And heck, as timing has it, everybody on this call should be thinking about kicking off the year with an exciting new program. So let's talk about the dynamics that we went to work on this one.
So the cobbler's children have no shoes. We're a marketing firm. We're doing everybody else's marketing. So if I'm like, come on, we need to do this. And Joe came to me and said, Cece, what's your entry point? Where do you find your best clients? What are your best clients that really stick with you? What brings them to you in the first place? And I said, websites or branding. And typically they go hand in hand. And he's like, well, what about a website checkup? And I'm like, that's good, because we do search engine optimization. We do content writing. We do beautiful websites. We do websites really, really well. Yeah. And so I said, and with the current market and this was before COVID, timing was perfect. Websites are more and more important now than ever. But not only that, but Google and what the search engines are doing. If you have an obsolete website, if your website's not responsive, you're not even going to get indexed. You are not even going to get indexed by Google. They won't even see you. And there's a great article I can send to you. Actually, Katie, who's on this call, maybe she could put the link in the chat about what's Google and how they're indexing sites. And they're really trying to make websites user-friendly and great for the consumer, so they get the information they need. So if you have a bad website, it's something that you need to be thinking about investing in. So what we did was, once again, trying to do the personalization, we had a list of about 250 people that, or companies that, either we met with, or we had a list, or we knew from somewhere, and we went and looked at their websites, and we took screenshots of their websites, and we analyzed their websites. And it's great to have interns. That's what my son did for us. Was it mobile responsive? Just some simple things. We took screenshots, and then we sent out, and we started the campaign with what we call a BAP.
Yep.
A big
ass postcard.
Thank you. And what we did was the variable print was whatever their website looked like. So here they get this thing and it says, "Hi, Katie," and it had a picture of their website there. And they had the opportunity to sign up for a free website audit, and with the personal URL and all that. So that's how we kind of kicked it off. We have about, and Sean is on the chat on this. She's the one that kind of led this charge. I think we have about 10 or 12 touches that kind of go out. And so people are able to either download something that gives them kind of a, hey, these are the kind of things you should be having on your website. And so it's a free, download. So they had that information. The neat thing about it is we had people that had come in that I had pitched a new website for 5 or 6 years ago. And we're kind of having ongoing conversations right now. We've done audits for them. A lot of times people, websites are big commitments. So, we've had a total of 5 people that have come in and said they want website audits that I'm just continuing to work with. I haven't closed one yet, but I will. And it's just a matter of time.
And undoubtedly that opens up the door for your print capabilities and other solutions as well. So you've got to be top of mind. And the only way to stay top of mind is to have your ongoing nurturing. And so this has been an ongoing program. We're now in the 2nd and 3rd waves, 12 touches. So great job. And for those of you not doing this, drop a note if you need help. I'm more than happy to coach you on what we can do to help you. All right, back to you.
So Cece, go ahead and bring that big A postcard back up on the screen. And what is the size? My friend Philip over there in Zoom wants to know. So I made you front and center there. How big is that thing?
I think it's, I got my 14 by 10.5.
Okay, there you go.
Why did I go with this size? Let me tell you about this. I didn't want it to fall into a regular 8.5 by 11. I didn't want it to get lost in the mail. I wanted their website to be front and center. They're like, oh crap, there's our ugly website. The postage on it was about $1. I think it was about $1.20, but I'm sending out about 50 per wave. So, but even that, I mean, and just so you know, I don't get any cuts at my printing company. So if you get a price, I'm always open to that. Yeah, so it was a BAP.
And so since I have you big on the screen, I also want you to pull up the other one that we talked about, the Christmas card. Can you just describe that? And if you can bring that on screen and show folks this other example.
So this one was fun. So we have a brand new client. They make wood stain, and they have a very interesting, it's called Wood Defender. They're a very interesting company. Go check them out. Anyway, we were having a meeting talking about their website and blah, 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 blah. And we have coasters. When we did a lunch and learn, we did coasters on this plank wood from Convertible Solutions. And she looked at this and she goes, wow, that's really cool. What can we do with that? And I said, we can make a cool Christmas card out of it. So this Christmas card was printed on Convertible Solutions plank. That color is actually a color of their stain. This is all white ink from the HP Indigo. And then we die cut out this part right here. And in the middle, you probably can't see it, but in the middle is that I don't know, it's the insert that goes between the planks, and when you cut it, it all sticks together, and it's heavy. The client is super excited, and then they wanted all the names of their employees on the back.
That's cool.
Card. She is super excited about it. But it's things like this. It's not just using paper. And let me tell you something. This is not a cheap card, but it's a great marketing piece for her. And she was willing to make that investment. So very, very neat application.
Very cool.
That's cool. Well, let's Cece, now let's get to some of the top questions that have come in. And as we throw these at you, Joe and I are going to lob them at you. Let's try to get to, if you can, like the most concise articulation of your view on each of these, so that we can give the faithful what they're looking for here. We had a lot of questions that came in around how you're selling right now. And you've already kind of talked a little bit about that. Like, how do you find clients? How do you manage your pipeline? And what the heck is your FU system? So if you can just tell us a little bit, how do you manage your pipeline? What's your CRM look like? Bring that back up on the screen for us.
What? Oh.
Where's your FU system? There it is.
Okay. So we do use, we use HubSpot strictly for their database. Hope there's nobody from HubSpot on here. I don't really subscribe to just email campaigns, but they do have a really good CRM. So, we were struggling with it, and we're finally like, we had a client that was using it. I'm like, let's just put that that's where our pristine database is. I'll tell you, keeping your database clean is critical. I have an intern. I get a business card. I snap a picture. I send it to them. I say, put it in HubSpot, send me a contact card, and go link in with those people. And so we have a system. We have a system of every time I get a new contact. When I make my database, which is super, super critical, I make notes to myself because God knows I'm not going to remember. For example, there was somebody that's registered for this. We have a meeting already scheduled for next week. He just linked in with me. And so it was, just trying to keep that relationship going and being open to it. So one of the things that we do is we do have a good CRM. We have a good system of keeping it clean. Somebody leaves a company, that comes out. If somebody, gets married and changes their name, we make notes. If they had a baby, we make notes. If I met them at a chamber event, we make notes. And so, I would really, really encourage you to have a database that is marketing driven, not from your QuickBooks or your accounting system, because it's a different person. So that's one way that you're dead in the water. The other thing I do, and everybody's got to have their own system. I'm not going to say there's one right system to manage your leads, your funnel. But what I would say is you have to have a system. It's like a diet. They all work. You just got to follow them, right? The grapefruit diet, you eat grapefruit for 10 months, guess what? You're going to lose weight. You just got to do it, right? So it's the same thing with follow-up. For me personally, if I put information in my phone, it's out of sight, out of mind. So, for me, I'm a paper person, and this, I don't know if you can see these, but see that? Yep. When I was talking to Dave and Joe, I'm like, that does not mean what you think it means. It means follow-up is what it means. And I have a tab where I have active clients, things I need to do, funnel, people that have stalled, referrals, and I just make my notes. And this works for me. I'm not saying that's the best way. It's the best way for me. So, I'm constantly taking notes, on 10:30, I wrote them an email, checked in with them, asking them about my website proposals, just always going through it and constantly working it. Always trying to get new clients. And, I think the most important thing is a lot of people, when I talk with my clients, are like, I get so many people on LinkedIn that just want to try to sell me something. I get that. However, I'm just going to be really blunt with you. I pretty much accept everybody on LinkedIn unless they're, I hate to say this, but maybe from, they're, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's certain ones you're just kind of like, I'm not sure about this one. Like they don't have a picture or they don't have a good profile. And then if they try to solicit to me, I'll just simply say, hey, you know what? I already have somebody helping me with my, healthcare benefits, but thank you. I wish you the best of luck, and they're always very friendly, get back to me and stop bothering me. But it spreads my network. And so, I I try really hard not to close the door on people, to try to stay open and being available. And I think that's critical to growing your business.
So Cece, we have a bunch of questions here. Let me try to get through these as quickly as possible. So
okay.
we had a lot that came in, like what you see here on the screen from Rodrigo.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reassure clients and your prospects right now that they should not slow or stop their advertising given what's going on in the world? What's your view on that?
Well, the first thing I would say to them is, well, have you stopped taking care of yourself that COVID hit? I mean, the reality is this is really when you should ramp it up. I try to explain to them also, you know what, everybody else is stopping their marketing. This is the time for you to market. Your voice will be amplified because you've not stopped. The other thing is it shows confidence that you're doing okay as a company, that you're still going and you're still working, and that you're still investing in it. The biggest mistake people make is that they stop when things get bad. The key to that is, if that's how they think, you're talking to the wrong person. You've got to be talking to the person who understands that marketing is an investment. Amen. If they turn it on and off when they feel like it, it's an expense.
So we had a bunch of questions that came in like those that you see here on the screen from John. How do you build a track record around building these kinds of campaigns and establishing trust with your clients when you're just getting started? Another one that came in is, where do you start with clients who are interested in Optichannel marketing, but they don't know where to begin?
Right.
Or like from Justin here, how have you been able to reach these people given the pandemic and everyone's at home? So I know there's like 3 different angles there, but how would you respond to these people here?
So the first thing I would tell you is, when you talk to people about their marketing, whatever it might be, first thing you should always be asking them is, how's business? What's keeping you up at night? What, if you could solve, what would it be? Where are you trying to accomplish? You should always come in, not with what the solution is first. You should always be asking that question. And then they'll be very open. You know what? I need to sell more turkeys. I need to sell more this or that or whatever. Then you sit back and go, well, what's your goal? And then a lot of times they sell more. Well, no, what's your goal? What are you doing now? And kind of walking them through kind of a business plan discussion. And what you're going to find is most people don't know the answers to that. I just need to sell more. Well, okay. Where are you getting your sales now? I don't know. So many people just don't have basic answers to what they need. They just need to sell more. So what I would tell you is, do that same exercise for yourself. What do you need to accomplish? What are you trying to achieve? Where are your customers coming from now? What do you need? It's not about just selling more. It's about, how do you solve that problem? Because once you solve that problem, it becomes a way of doing business. So I hope that answered that, but it is about first asking them questions about their business, because that right off the hand, and goes right with this book that he's showing, it goes right. It lets them know that you're not just there to sell product. You are there to be a solution to them. You should always be asking, first call, how's business? How are you doing? What's keeping you up at night? How can I help you? And then always be trying to your best after you get started with them, giving them measurements and being transparent with that.
So what does this book mean to you, Cece? I know you mentioned it in our pre-meeting, and it stuck with me. Mackenzie, if people want this book, go ahead and drop the link there to Amazon for everyone if they want to follow up and actually read this. But tell us what this means to you, Cece.
This is a simple book, and I'll tell you, I'm looking at 4 copies on my desk over there for the first four people that say, I want it. Mackenzie's going to tell me, give me your address. I'll just mail it to you, because it's a great book. It's a book. It's everything your mom and dad taught or should have taught you if they didn't. But it's really very simple. There's nothing in here that you're going to go, wow, I never thought about it. It's just about treating people with kindness and treating people and doing things because it's the right thing to do, not because you're trying to sell a product. Nowhere in here does it talk about sales cycles. It just talks about how to treat a customer, how to treat people you meet, how to genuinely be concerned and interested in them. I give this to all my staff. I ask them to read it. I said, and I give it to my clients. And I say, this is how I run my business. And if you really want to understand who we are, this is how I run my business. It's a great, I've got 4 and draw it, whatever. I'll send them to whoever with no strings attached.
Mackenzie's following up on the first 4. They went quickly. She also gave the link to Amazon, folks, if you want to go and get it from Jeff.
It's
Jess,
an
I'm
easy
sure would be
read.
happy to send it to you as well.
It's an easy read, but it just talks about good customer service. And it talks about how, you invest now and you never know when it's going to come back and pay off.
Amen.
Yeah.
So Joe, let me throw this back to you. Move into the third set of questions here before we get into the real-time Q&A. Let's talk about how you've been able to help, and I know you've been intimately involved with this. How does Cece execute these campaigns? Let's dig into that.
Yeah, so we had a question from George P. He said, do you lean on an outsourced digital solution platform? How do you execute your campaigns?
MindFire. We do use other, and if you mean digital solutions platform, or like HubSpot or things like that, we strictly use MindFire. We have other tools that we use that supplement that, but I will tell you, the most things we lean on is tools to help us with metrics, to be able to measure, because we want to know how's the Facebook ad doing, and we want to share that, because one of the most important things when you're doing a campaign like this is that you adjust. If you see something going wrong or really taking off, you need to adjust, and you need to be in real time. You don't just kind of let it go and hope something happens. And so we use a lot of different platforms and to be able to aggregate what we're doing to support this campaign as well. But I've been using MindFire forever, 8 years.
And when we discuss this, as a Optichannel campaign is using not only the digital components, but also the print components, and you've touched on this already. But what really stood out and what Blair is asking here is, tell us again, how do you price print as part of this to make the cost of that print a non-issue? How do you do that?
So when I put my proposals together, I talk to them about the entire package and what we're going to do. And then when I share that with them, print is just a line item. It's not like I go and say, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I simply say, here's what it's going to cost. Based on your database, we need 5,000 of this or whatever it is. Here's the print price. It's going to be personalized, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But when you break it down per unit, it's when they see the value, that it's not just something they could upload to Vistaprint. Sorry if there's anybody here on Vistaprint. But it's going to take some skill. It's going to take some special equipment. That's how I do it. And so it's not like I line item and we go through line item. It's all about, here's the program. Here's what we're all doing. Print is just a line item. It's never, ever, ever been an issue.
Now, Joe, I know you've been working with Cece for many, many years, helping her and her team. And Cece, we got a question from Fran here that was echoed by hundreds of people who are looking at kind of the situation you were in, I think about 7 or 8 years ago, and thinking, okay, how do we get from there to where you are now? What's the best way to transition from, being viewed as a print supplier to a print and marketing service? And what kind of resources do I need? What kinds of tools do I need? So in maybe a minute or two, let me start with you, Joe, since you've been intimately involved with Cece in this transition. From your view, what is it that's required? And then Cece, I'll throw the question over to you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. For me, working with all of our customers across the globe, it's really simple. You have to have a commitment to success. B, you've got to get the training. C, you've got to have the sales team on board. If you can't get the sales team on board, you need to have a greyhound, a man or woman that reads, lives print / marketing services 24/7 and can go out and make great presentation. And finally, as you're ramping up, get a partner like MindFire and a team like our customer success team that can help you every step of the way. Mm-hmm. And if you have the right partner and you have the commitment, there's absolutely no reason that you can't be a complete success.
So Cece, let me turn that question over to you. And Phil asked a very good question here. When someone's just getting started, how do you start to sell these solutions? How did you sell these solutions when you didn't have any case studies to initially show?
Right. So once again, going back to what are they trying to accomplish? I need to, B2B or B2C or whatever it is. I'm going back to saying, well, okay, and understanding, okay, so you're trying to reach these people. What do you want to tell those people? What do those people need from you? I mean, what do you have to offer those people? What's the value of that customer? Do you have a database? And then my whole thing is that and I'll be very frank, I use my when I first started, I had to use my own self-promotion as my. But the other thing I will tell you is it's about helping them decide how to do things differently. The other thing is you have to measure it, which you're able to do. The thing that I think that's when I talk to people about a campaign and how it works, I actually tell them, I can tell if somebody just looked at it, just accessed the campaign. They didn't fill it out or anything. Then we have a whole strategy on what to do with that. So it's about explaining to them the process. I will tell you, they have a difficult time understanding how it all works. So a case study is important. And I know MindFire, I've used MindFire's case studies. There are great case studies that you can share that show them how it's done. It's easier for them to actually see it. Many times what I do when I'm working with a client, I mean, I've been doing campaigns now for 7 years, but if I'm trying to get a client to think about a campaign, I'd say, let me throw you into our current campaign right now. You'll be a seed. Nobody's going to try to call and sell you anything. Just let them experience it. And that's usually what then they kind of understand it. It is complicated if you just try to explain it. But what you want to do is focus in on the personalization, the customization, the measurement, the automation of it, and the data that comes in from it. And then the one thing that kind of wraps it up for people when they really have a hard time, I say, you might have a list of 10,000 people. Instead of starting off with a list of 10,000 people thinking, I got to call Joe this morning, what you do is you see who accessed the campaign, who looked at it, and then you follow them first. So it helps you kind of focus your work, your follow-up. And people like that. It's efficient.
So Cece, we got a ton of questions, and I'm looking at you, Mackenzie, and Katie, and the MindFire team behind the scenes. Start to pull those together for us. I want to get to Q&A to lob at you, Cece, in just a second. But first of all, everyone, have you just been blown away by everything that Cece has shared? Give her some love. Give me some likes over there in LinkedIn. Drop some X's over there in Zoom chat or in LinkedIn. Come on, show her some love, folks. We want to make sure that she knows how appreciated she is. Do it now over there. Drop us some comments. There we go. All the X and O's are coming in, Cece. Thank you. Thank you for that, folks. And thank you, Cece. Second, if you look at the screen here, and you can see the question here, if you'd like to learn more about everything that Cece has shared today, question for all of you. Would it be helpful if we gave you some additional resources and maybe some next steps to help you take a step deeper into all of this? Drop a yes in the chat. Over in LinkedIn, let me see my LinkedIn friends. Would that be helpful? Okay, cool. Well, we've done a few things to help. Let me pull a few of those up here on the screen real quick for you. I've asked our team to set aside some time in the next week or so to put some blocks on the calendar where we can meet with you one-on-one and talk through the stuff that Cece's been sharing with you today around how you could run campaigns like this for your own business. And if Cece can help there, we will pull her and her team in and figure out what that would look like for you. Or if maybe you're in a situation like Cece was 6 or 7 years ago, maybe you're a commercial printer or you're an agency, marketing services company, and you want to learn how to sell and deliver these types of campaigns to your clients, we can talk about that too. So it'll be a private one-on-one session if you want us to help you do that, to be creative in the way that Cece has shown you today that opens up new channels of opportunities for you. We set that time aside. You can, Mac, if you don't mind, take this link. Let's make it easier for everybody. Yeah, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. We've got 4 people that we've set aside to help schedule these calls. First come, first serve. Mackenzie's dropped that in. If you can throw that over there into LinkedIn. Little small form there for you to fill out. First come, first serve. And let's talk about that. Let's see if we can help. Again, this is for you if you're in leadership, if you're in marketing, if you're in sales, you want to figure out how to run campaigns like those that Cece has talked about today, or maybe you want to sell these types of services to your clients. So if you fall into any of those descriptions, go over there now. I'm going to take just a moment, give you a second to do that. Mackenzie has given you that link, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. Go over there, fill out that short form. On the call, like I said, our goal is to walk you through these types of campaigns. Here's a flow chart of one. You might have seen this if you were with us 2 weeks ago. They can be elaborate. They can look a little scary if you're not used to running these types of Optichannel campaigns. Don't worry. We can help you understand what it takes, whether you want to do this for yourself or for your your organization, or if you want to start selling these types of services. So mindfiremarketing.com/yes. There's a little form there. We'll set some time on the calendar to be able to go through that with you. One more thing I want you to think about before we go to the questions here. And I see Josh has set some time aside. Thank you, Josh, for that. Appreciate it. Happy to help. One more thing I want you to think about before we go to questions. Why is this more important than ever? I think you have to remember, folks, whether you're on B2B or B2C, and this was true even before the pandemic, there is this growing divide between buyers and sellers. What used to work just doesn't work anymore, or it's quickly changing. And the way we see the world is that you've got to put your buyers first. But buyers don't feel that way if you ask them. There's a recent study, actually, you mentioned HubSpot, Cece. They did a study. And at the onset of COVID, sellers started to increase their email outreach by 59%, meaning they ramped up the number of communications they were sending out through email. Yet on the other end, the buyers, the customers and prospects that we're trying to communicate with, decreased their acceptance of email by 25 to 30%. And so what I'm saying is, if what used to already not kind of work when the pandemic started, think about that now. It's even less likely to work. So this moment requires a new model of marketing and selling. And that's what we want to talk to you about. If you need help with that, if you need to figure out how to use Optichannel to put your customer, your prospect at the center of your communication, and use the optimal channel for your market and for that individual person, that's what we can help you do. So that's my spiel. I'm going to shut up now. I want to take some questions. Mackenzie, if you don't mind, come on the air. Folks want to be able to see you. I know you've been furiously curating the questions behind the scenes for us. There you are.
Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Give me a couple of questions, and let's get Joe and Cece to answer those for us here.
Perfect. So I'm going to start with one question that I think is important, and a lot of people have asked, which is, Cece, do you have a sales team, and how do you handle sales and follow-up from a team perspective?
So we're a small firm, but I will tell you, my whole team sells, but I don't have, I'm probably, and I have Ken Thompson, who I mentioned earlier. He helps me, but we work together as a team. So typically when we get leads, he'll say, hey, I'll take this one, or I'll take this one, or whatever. And sometimes my son Jake helps with those as well as an intern. And we reach out to them. We have a very systematic, go link in with them, follow up with them. And then I do go in many times, and I think it's just because I'm the owner. I do go in and kind of present and have the discussion. I've chosen for my business is to limit the kind of clients I work with. That's a strategic choice that I've made. But on the other side of it, I think you, like I said earlier, you just have to have a system of how to follow up. It's critical that you don't, go cold. And I even get to the point where I'll send an email and say, I don't mean to pester you. If you don't want to talk to me, just tell me and I'll leave you alone. I mean, and I always get back, no, it's fine. Thank you for checking in. I'm just not ready to talk. Call me in the first of the year. And then in my book, I write it down. So that's how I do it. But I will tell you, my whole staff is trained to look for that. I mean, even my creative director, my programmers, my social media people that do my work for me, when they're working with the client, they're looking at where's the opportunity and is this the right tool for it? So.
Dave, can I just add something to Cece's comment? The sales portion of selling Optichannel solutions is essential for success. And so you need to be trained, so get training. And Cece does an amazing job. I've been on calls with her. But when you don't have a good representative, then get a strong partner. I'm going to be self-serving here for a second, but I just found out yesterday an account I helped one of our customers with just secured a $175,000 order that includes print. So get a good partner to help you, and good things can come your way.
Hey, we have a question here, which I think we got to answer. Somebody said, who the heck is Joe Manos? Ira, you better know Joe. Joe is, you say who Joe is, Cece, go ahead.
Well, Joe is one of the most passionate, one of the most energized people I've ever met. And he's always available. And that's why I got up at 3:30 this morning. He is passionate about this. He's an expert on how to reach your target. He's an expert on strategy. He's a great cheerleader on top of it. But he is the one that helps you think through this, helps you sell these things to your client. He's a fantastic resource. I don't know if I got it.
Yeah, and Ira, Joe, and Dave that you see here, and McKinsey, we're with MindFire. Joe is Mr. MindFire, and Cece is with ToolBox. So Ira, hope that helped you. Mac, what else do we got here?
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of questions about your target list and your database. So I'm going to kind of read a few of them all in one, just so you can kind of bang them all out. So the themes are, how did you develop your target list for your self-promotion? How many people did you reach out to in your website? In your CRM, the active prospects, how many people are in there? So I think people want to know, like, in your outgoing marketing, how many, are we talking thousands? Are we talking hundreds? Who are we going after? And what's the quantity?
So for my personal thing, I have probably over 2,500 records in HubSpot. And some of them are very cold. Some of them are people that haven't talked to in a while, but I know I try to stay connected with them, send a Christmas card or what have you. But then the second part of the question is, how do I stay up to date with them? Is, we send out newsletters. We try to link in with the one thing I do is I link in with everybody in that database, every single one of them. And I'm always amazed at people that are in marketing that don't have a LinkedIn profile. I think shame. And I will tell you, if you don't have your picture on your LinkedIn, a professional picture, shame on you. People want to see who you are. If you don't have your picture, your leadership, or your sales team or whatever on your website, you should. It's the second most visited page on your website. People want to know who they're working with. So make yourself available, but keep that list and get into a routine of, and if it doesn't have to be you, it could be, you designate someone in your organization to, try to keep that conversation going. But yeah, newsletters, blogs, LinkedIn, any way that I can. So.
Mac, what else do you see major themes coming through? What do folks need most from us right now?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of questions, and a lot of people are asking us for more information, specifically like tangible information about how we can help them. So what kind of things can we do to actually help them take that next step and kind of go from, hey, this is a really good idea, to how can I actually implement this?
Sure. So I covered those a minute ago, but let me throw a few of them back on the screen. So Mac, if you can grab these, let me just pull the resources back up. So a few things, folks, if you want to take some tangible steps. One is, and you heard Cece talk about LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with Cece on LinkedIn. That's a good place to start. Second, join the LinkedIn COVID-19 print group. Mackenzie's going to put that in the chat as well. And then thirdly, let's join that text chain that we have. If you want to get notified about opportunities, business opportunities, print opportunities, marketing opportunities. So that would be the first thing I would say. And then Mac, if people are asking, like, how can we here at MindFire and how can we help take the next step? Let me just throw a few of those on the screen as well. So in case you don't know who we are, we have software here at MindFire, the software that Cece's been describing that they use to be able to build these campaigns. So a little snapshot here on the screen. This is the MindFire software that some of you use. If you're not a MindFire client, this might be new to you. If you want to find out more about how the software works and how it helps you achieve these kinds of campaigns objectives, Matt, can you throw that link back in there? mindfiremarketing.com/yes. We're happy to talk to you about that. So we have software that'll help you run Optichannel campaigns. That's what you see here on the screen. Reporting, analytics. It does also have a light CRM system built into it to help you manage the types of campaigns, the types of workflows that Cece's been showing you today. The other thing, and I want you to raise your hand or drop an X if this resonates with you. One of the hardest things that folks have kind of a stumbling block with when they think about running self-promotional campaigns, like what Joe's been talking about today, is that they lack the content, quality content to put out there into the world. Who resonates with that? Give me a yes in the chat. LinkedIn, Mackenzie, I see your hand. Joe's raising his hand. Give me a yes in the chat. The way we help you solve that is with what we call quick start campaigns. These are campaigns that are 80 to 90% configured. And the ones I have on the screen here are pretty applicable to the print folks who are here with us. These are end-to-end campaigns. That means the ebooks, the landing pages, the emails, the triggers, the nurture sequences. All of that is pretty much ready to go. You just come in and customize the last 10 to 20%. That's another way that we can help. And then we also have technology that'll help you find content that's already resonating with your target market. And we help you, forgive the word, but we help you hijack that content to use it to drive your own leads. If you want to find out more, happy to talk to you about that. MindFireMarketing.com/yes. And then training is another thing that we can do. Mackenzie, I saw some people ask about LinkedIn, and Cece, you mentioned your use of LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not using LinkedIn, folks, if you're not using Optichannel social selling, you're at a significant disadvantage. We have a 6-week course that'll teach you how to do everything we're talking about from a sales and marketing perspective. If you want to drive leads and engagement for your business, and a big focus of that, as you can see here, is how to use LinkedIn, how to craft a profile that's going to get attention. And Cece, you're 100% right. You have to have things like a profile picture. You're shooting yourself in the foot. 50% of the people viewing you, if you don't have a good picture, are going to bounce.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to teach you how to do that, how to write posts on LinkedIn that work, how to write copy that motivates action. Again, this is all training that we can provide you. If this is helpful to you, MindFireMarketing.com/yes. Mac, I'm going to throw one more thing up on the screen, and let's get back to the questions here. If you're thinking about, hey, I'm a print company, I'm a marketing services company, I'm an agency, I want to be like Cece, how do I do that? Well, we can partner with you in helping you launch those kinds of campaigns. Mac, if you can get this little demo URL ready here in just a second. One of the things that you're going to need, and somebody asked the question, like, how do you present this to clients when you've never done it before? Well, we help you do that. And one of the ways that we help you do that is by giving you a demo site that you can immediately start to use with your clients. Mackenzie's going to drop that link here in the chat in just a second. You can actually go play around with it if you want. You can look at how it works and feel it. And so if you want to offer these kinds of campaigns to your clients, we give you the technology that you need to not only run campaigns for yourself, but also create what we call sub-accounts. A sub-account is, a container specific to each of your customers, so you can run campaigns for them. So if you want to know more about that, we're happy to set the call with you and talk that through. Mac, I think you threw this little link there in the chat, marketingsmissinglink.com. Folks, if you want to experience it, that's what we call it. If you want to experience an Optichannel campaign, go ahead and try that now. Mackenzie's giving you the link, and you can get a feel for that. So Mac, I hope that helps. Does that seem like it was helpful to everybody? If you have any questions about what we can do to help, please continue to fire away. Let's see, what's the next question we have here? Barry is saying, can you list all of the recommendations of getting started on one page, starting with the screen that had Dave's cell phone number? Sure, I can go back to that. Let me bring that back up here on the screen. I think I'm going to get a lot of text messages here in a second. Barry, if that's the one you're looking for, there you go. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Join the COVID-19 print group. Text me. And then if you have any questions, we're happy to talk one-on-one. Thank you for sending that link in there, Mackenzie. What else, Mac? What are the questions we have here?
Yeah, so one of the more macro questions, going back to the beginning when Cece was talking about how she acquired ToolBox, someone wanted to know, did you decide to buy ToolBox Studio because it was successful without in-house staff to do some of these things?
No, I did not buy. I bought ToolBox Studios because they were well established. They've been around for 20 years, award-winning, fantastic branding website company. I knew we actually did print for the owner, and that's how I knew him. And he approached me. He was ready to kind of get out. He was tired of running a business, and he became a consultant. And so that's why I did it. And to me, it was just married up very nicely with what I wanted to do. Here's one of the things, and I wrote this down. Somebody asked, how do you get started? I can't stress this enough. you can't just go in and sell print with this campaign. You can't just say, well, we're going to do this and we're all going to just do it by print. Yes, print is a huge component, but you've got to have social media involved. You've got to have other kinds of advertising, ringless voicemail, text messaging, all the things which MindFire can help you get access to. But if you just go in and just say, well, all that I know how to do is the print part, you're going to fail. You need to have a total solution of how you're going to reach these people. And Dave mentioned earlier that it's gotten very, very complicated. The things that used to work don't work anymore. And the reason why is there used to be, some of us remember this, 3 channels and 1 newspaper. And that's all there was. Think about how many places people get information now. And now it's not necessarily by age or your demographic. It's more about your learning style. I like to listen. I like to read. I like to see a visual. So you have to have a good marketing mix to do these campaigns. It can't, so don't go in there and say, well, we can do the print part and maybe you go have somebody else do your social media. You have to be the complete solution. So that would be a big mistake to only talk print. In regards to the question on, I'm sorry, I just really wanted to stress that. In regards to how we do we partner with MindFire. We've had programmers but that can do this, but I'll be frank, we're so busy with websites. I just go straight to MindFire and have them do my programming for me. Because along with that programming, you get lots of free consulting too. Of, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, have you thought about that? And they've been fantastic to work with. So they actually build my campaigns for me. Faria is amazing. Just gonna say that. And so's Dave, and so's Mackenzie, and so's Ramin. And
no, it's the team. It's definitely the team. It's in line with actually, Mackenzie, with George's question. Can you pull this off? I think he means Cece running campaigns like this without the in-house creative staff and lean on other people or an outside or an outsourced team, which is kind of what you're doing.
Yeah. And so I think what's most important and what I really want to reiterate is you need to listen to them, what they're trying to do, and come up with some tools and say, hey, we could do this, and brainstorm with them. You don't have to have the complete solution. You don't have to talk to them about, what if we did this? What if we did that? Spend some time investigating. Great brainstorming people are the people here with MindFire. They've seen it all. They've seen all different ways of doing it. So, I would start with, what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? What's important to those people? What information would get their attention? What information can you give them free? And then, you can, many times once you start talking about that, there are special things you need to know about the creative when you do these things. There's some little tricks and things like that, but, partner with an agency, partner with MindFire. They've got the creative talent as well. I've worked with a couple people that are on this call right now, just talking to them about ideas of what they can do. And we kind of sold it together. They're the print company. They did the print and we helped with the strategy and the creative, and we partnered that way. I don't know if John is on the call or not, but many of you I've talked to and given you some ideas, and I'm happy to brainstorm with you, free of charge. Just talk nice about me if you know anybody that needs a website. So
Cece, you mentioned how we help or have helped you. I forgot to put the slide up on the screen. So folks, what Cece's referring to is the done with you and the done for you campaign execution that we can help you with. So that's applicable to folks here, whether you're a B2B or a B2C organization and you need this help, or if you're a service provider like an agency or a printer, marketing services company. Maybe you have the relationships with customers, you go out and you sell it, but then you're like, shoot, how do I actually execute this stuff? So you can white label the MindFire team, so to speak, behind the scenes, and we can help you with that. So if that's useful to you, mindfiremarketing.com/yes, or if you want help running a campaign, or if you want to connect with Cece, go fill in that form. We'll help you take the next step. Mac, were you raising your hand, or were you waving at me?
Yeah, I was.
Everyone's raising their hands.
Yeah, I want to add one thing on this.
Yes.
Think seriously about your next salesperson that you want to have somebody that's got a marketing background, opposed to a sales marketing, whatever, opposed to
Mackenzie. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I think seriously about any, and I don't mean to dismiss what you guys do, because I sold print myself, but you can teach anybody to sell something, right? but the strategy and the knowledge of marketing. So there's a lot of young people out there, a lot of good young people out there dying for an opportunity to be in charge of your marketing for you and for your clients. So think about that.
Thank you, Cece. Yeah, Matt, let's get back to the
questions.
questions.
I wanted to say,
don't forget the chat. I know it's your first webinar.
Yeah, I got the chat. I've got like 50 questions. But one thing I want to say that Cece's not going to say it because it's her is, you know, she's talking about how important it is that your customers look at marketing as an investment, not a cost. And we met Cece on the show floor many years ago. So make no mistake about it. The reason why Cece is successful today is because she also viewed this as an investment, not a cost. She viewed going into Optichannel as something that was going to set her apart and continue to bring value to her clients.
Yep.
So just as much as you're asking your customers to have some faith in you and invest in doing this yourself, you have to be bought in too. Because when it gets hard, when you need to pitch them, the only person who is going to rally them is you. So Cece got here in large part because of her gumption, because of her foresight, and because of her passion for trying to deliver value to your customers. So when you're asking your customers to do this, I encourage you to look in the mirror and make sure that you're doing it too, because that's what we've all seen Cece do.
Yeah, and just one tie down point to both those wonderful points by the ladies. If you're not doing it for yourself,
don't do it for you.
Forget about it if you want to move into marketing services, but how in God's name can you even think about having a great 2021 without doing self-marketing for yourself? But let me say this, all the customer meetings I'm in with companies like Cece's and our other customers, the one thing every company in America is looking for right now is a man or woman to walk in the door and say, I'm here to help you. We've got challenges we're all facing, but my company can become a critical resource for your company because we've got innovative solutions to help you connect with your prospects and customers. And that's so important right now. That's why our customers are outperforming everyone else, because they're doing the things we're talking about. All right.
Mac, next question.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for that nice call out. But it's true.
It's just the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, I've had this conversation with my husband, and he's golfing right now, so he's not on the call. So I said, if you send out an email Christmas card, I'm going to slap you silly. Why would a printer send out an email Christmas card? Sorry if any of you guys are doing that. Mail it. Even if you don't think they're in the office, I don't care, mail it. Do what you say and you're encouraging other people to do. Have an active social media. It doesn't have to be crazy active, but have social media. Have a good website. Do advertising. Get out there. I mean, think outside of print. And I know you're busy. I get it. But you have to think of other marketing things for yourselves, because then when you go in and talk to them, you're doing the same thing.
We got somebody protecting Barney saying, hey, don't forget that the greatest method of networking is golf.
This is true. He reminds me of that all the time. The poor man has worked very, very hard. He deserves to be retired.
Amen.
So, yeah. Oh, he does. And actually,
it's
amazing how many leads he gets from that.
One of the questions that kind of has to talk about the same line of communication here is, how do you go about qualifying the right size / fit prospects for you? Your pitch seems like it casts a large net, but both for B2B and B2C, what is your, who does your day-to-day prospecting, if you do that, and how do you determine the right size and fit as a prospect for you?
I look at, I do have somebody, Ken, who's on here with me. He helps me a lot with prospecting. He's always looking at lists and going, hey, we should try to connect with this one, or he links in with them, or he calls them, or he drops off samples or what have you. And so we do have that active support. I would tell you, it's just one of those things that you just have to keep after. You can't stop. You can't stop doing it. And I forgot the other part of the question. I'm running a complete blank. Somebody just came to the door, so I got distracted. How do you determine the right size and fit as a prospect for you? One of the things you were talking about is making sure that you're working with people who you can actually help. So what's your sweet spot there, and how do you determine that? Well, a lot of it is the size of the company. A lot of it is if they have a marketing team internally. If they do, I'll be very frank, they're working with an internal marketing team with a client is typically very difficult because they see you as a threat. I mean, I'm just I'm going to be very blunt with you. They question, so getting into the right person, talking to the right decision maker. People like, for example, I was on a call yesterday with a prospect, and the lady's like, well, what do you think the best return on investment should be? And I said, I don't think there's ever a status quo. I think you should always try to reach for the stars and get what you can. And I was talking to the owner and I said, am I right, Dudley? And he's like, you're absolutely right. The highest return we can get. You've got to be talking to the person who's thinking about this investment as a return on investment. If you're talking to somebody who's like, well, you know what, the other printer had a price of, 1 cent less a piece, so we're gonna go with them. You're talking to the wrong person. Get to the right person. So if I can't get to that right person, if it's like, if it's somebody, they're from a very, very small company, and I'm very transparent. I'm not the cheapest, I'm not the most expensive, but I'm good. And, I'm very, a lot of times I have to weed them through with pricing. If they want, a $2,000 website, I'm not their girl. I'm not their team. So it's just about being very transparent. And then looking at who your decision maker is. I think if you guys could target, I'm sure you're doing this now, but try to get to the owners, get to the people who are financially responsible for the decision making, and talk return on investment.
Awesome. A lot of people, I think, especially because of COVID, are asking questions about your targeting for some of the campaigns. So big question that I'm seeing is, well, are these going to home addresses? If so, how do you get that data? They're asking specifically about the BAP, the Big A postcard, and some of the other ones that you were doing. But, who did you target? Where did you try to find them? And how did you obtain the list?
Multiple ways. We purchase list. We are always calling a new list. We have a business journal where you can, I don't know if you guys know this, but you guys can buy the list from your business journal of their book of list, which has their emails typically and all of that. It's usually pretty inexpensive. And we get it on a flash drive. But we also look at places where we've had luck, where B2B or people have opportunities to really get a big bang for their buck. In regards to how I'm doing it with COVID, just haven't stopped doing what I've always done. We mail, we email, we text message, we ringless voicemail, we link in, we do everything that we've been doing all along. We are crazy busy. And I'm telling you, I took advantage of this time during COVID, and I told my team, I said, this is not the time to sit here and just hope this thing goes away, because it's not going to go away. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to just keep going. It's the way we do business. And that's what I encourage you guys to do and encourage your clients to do, is just, this is a way of doing business. It's not an event. So
Mackenzie, I have a question for the audience. So if you're over there in LinkedIn and if you're here in Zoom, I want you to answer this question for me. Cece has shared so much and has been so transparent with us. What was the biggest aha moment for you today? What was the biggest takeaway? Where was that moment where you were like, I got to write that down. I can't forget about this. I got to go run and tell so-and-so I have to do this. What was that thing for you? I want to see it over here in Zoom. Take a moment, write it out. Or if you're over there in LinkedIn, go write it over there. We love seeing that feedback. Cece, I think you'll like seeing it as well. And we want to know, where did that new brain connection, where did that new spark, where did that new unlock happen for you today? Go over there and let us know. Rebecca saying, ensure your team is implementing the strategies they are asking their clients to implement. Craig says, never undermine your value. Jean says, seeing the actual product from the story example that Cece told. Paul's got to jump. Paul, have a great rest of the day. Kristen saying, marketing is an investment, not a cost, even for nonprofit organizations.
yes.
Yep. George is saying margins, the $32,000 sale, the $7,000 cost. Eileen is saying need to sell total solutions in all caps. Larry is saying focus on what you're trying to accomplish and take action. I think that's what you mean there, Larry, right? Please, over on LinkedIn, let us know. Fantastic input. I'm glad this was helpful for you. Mackenzie, what's the next question?
Yeah, so now some tactical questions. So one of them was, so this is awesome. They're talking about your self-promotion program when you were doing the BAP. How did you get people to receive, how do you get people who received your email to open it? because apparently this person is having trouble getting their prospects to open an email. And I did answer them a few things via text, but I thought it was a good question to answer live.
Like I mentioned earlier, I don't open emails a lot of times, just because I've got zillions of them. So the last thing I want to do, if it's a solicitation, I don't look at it. So it's a personal preference. So the reality is, if you're just focusing on just doing email, you're missing the boat. You've got to touch them multiple ways. A LinkedIn campaign. LinkedIn has some really, really good advertising tools that are really powerful and very, very targeted. But, and I know people are working from home and all that good stuff, but, people are still going in once in a while to the office, getting the mail, looking at the mail. I send them to the office. I don't have anybody's home address. Just keep doing what you're doing. And you're not going to have people that want to open an email. You're always going to have that. But I would also tell you, there's some techniques about email. Don't make them too long. Make sure you have a call to action. Make sure that, you're not sending too many too often. I mean, that's really irritating when you get too many, because then people unsubscribe. Add value in that email. Don't just ask for an appointment. Say, hey, by the way, I've read this really interesting article about what Google's doing with websites. This might be interesting to you. Add value in that email. Make sure that it's brief and there's a good call to action, and tell them you're going to follow up. I always in my emails let people know I'll follow up with you in a week. And if they get back to me, then I respond back. If they don't ever open an email, then I keep doing the other things that I know work. Try to link in with them, try to message them, try to leave a phone call, and all of that.
I see some interesting takeaways here. One is from Kamisha saying the thing that stood out was utilizing MindFire, Joe Manos specifically, in the way that you're doing, Cece, and buying the book from the Business Journal was of interest. And I'm seeing others saying I need to learn more about LinkedIn campaigns. And so, folks, if you're in that boat, either thinking how do we leverage a partner like MindFire and the value that Joe has brought Cece, or how do we learn to use LinkedIn in the way Cece is describing, both organically as well as through the different paid options? Let me put that back on the screen here. We'd love to talk to you. Go grab a spot, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. That's what we can talk to you about for your organization, for your sales staff, for your marketing team, or if this is something that you want to think about selling to your clients. So, Bill, I know we're already connected, but if you want to learn more about maybe some of the paid opportunities in LinkedIn, go fill in that form and we'll set up a time to talk. All right, Mackenzie, what do you think is next on the list here?
I was just going to follow up on that email thing. So the thing, just to tack on to what Cece said, I told the person that there's, in terms of how do I get people to actually open the email, I told them 3 things you need to be thinking about. Number 1, your open rate is going to be a function of your list. Who you're targeting, is that data good? Is it relevant? Do they know who you are? Meaning, if you are outreaching to someone via email, they haven't connected with you on LinkedIn, they don't know who you are, much lower chance to get into inboxes. So number 1, your list. Number 2, your email service provider and infrastructure. There are a lot of intricacies that go into authenticating your email, targeting the people you are targeting. Meaning, if you haven't done things like set up SPF to authenticate your email from being sent from your email service provider, you're missing a big boat. Last thing is your subject line, right? So if you want to target people and you want to get them to open it, the subject line needs to create curiosity. It needs to be a strong subject line. It needs to be something where they see it and they want to open it. So again, 3 quick tips on getting opens. Who are you targeting? What's the infrastructure of which you're sending emails, and what's the subject line you're using there? So sorry, I just wanted to tack that on.
That's
next
great.
question.
Yeah, great.
Next question is, when you do a book, the BAP, I was being confused with our BAC, your big A postcard, how big is the project when it's 10 to 12 touches? So like, how many of those touches are email? How many are direct mail? What's the campaign look like for people so they can kind of understand that?
So you know what, I'm going to tell you the best way for you to see that, and the best way for your client to see that, is a flow chart, and that you walk. And I don't know, I don't use a flow chart. I'm very rudimentary in my software usage and all that, but I just use a spreadsheet, and I make a flow. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then if this person does this, I'm going to do this. When they see that flow, that helps them understand the whole program. This thing right here, it helps them. And it also, I'll be very frank, this exercise will make you go, oh, well, what are we going to do here? I forgot about them. Are we just going to leave these people hanging? Or are we just going to ignore them? Right. So this is a very powerful, very, very powerful tool to help people understand the flow of it. But also, this also shows them that this is not just an email campaign. It's not just something simple. It is a well thought out automated marketing campaign. Excuse me. The other thing that I think is really interesting in this is if you have the opportunity to put people into your campaign that just want to see what it looks like, what I do is when people, like, for example, if I have a prospect that I've thrown into one of my other clients' campaigns, I'm just letting them see what's going on. As soon as I see that they've accessed the page, I send them an email right away and say, just saw that you looked at the page. They're amazed at how quickly the real life response time is. So it's not like you have to go pull a database, get it down and see what everybody did. You can find out right away that Joe opened up your email and looked at it.
And I don't think I did a good job describing that. That's what this is, folks. Yeah. This is what the Experience It little demo site is here. So you can experience what the personalization is like, what the email triggers are like, what the text message engagement is like on your phone, what the ringless voicemail or voice message is like. All of those different touches. If you want to experience that and see what that's like, that's what this is for. And then, as I mentioned, for any partners or clients that are on the line, if you want to brand this and use this so that when you go out and present to a client, you can show them and allow them to experience it, you can also use this tool as well. So, Cece, it's a great point, and I don't think I did a good job articulating that, but folks, go to that link. Mac, if you don't mind, drop it in one more time, LinkedIn and Zoom, just in case people want to pick that up.
Yeah, it's really powerful when they experience it. And then when I send them an email, the minute that they, if I'm able to watch it, the minute I send an email, hey, Joe, I just saw that you accessed the campaign. What do you think? They're like, whoa. And the other thing is it's not just about the hot leads. The warm leads are more important. And when you get into these campaigns and you start looking, it's not just about the people say, yeah, give me a call. I want to talk to you. It's about the people that looked but haven't said anything. What are you going to do there? There's a whole nother conversation on how to make it work in an organization as well about.
I totally agree with that. I always tell people that I'm talking to, your incremental growth is going to come from the people who say yes and they convert. Your exponential growth is going to come from continuously communicating with those who expressed minor interest, but who didn't raise your hand. If you're not focusing on those people, they're going to get cold and become basically unproductive leads, So you want to make sure and tap into that large percentage who express some interest, who visit the link, who are looky-loos, but maybe they got busy, maybe they got distracted, or there wasn't something that was compelling enough to have them say, yes, I'm interested. But if you go back to them, show them that you see that they're minorly interested, you can have those conversations to turn those warm middle leads right into the hot top of the cream of the crop leads, as she was saying.
Yeah.
We have another tactical question regarding the, I think it was the knife campaign that you described. They said, so for the $32,000 investment, will one customer sold for them be wildly successful in revenue?
Yes. So for example, Cracker Barrel came in and like literally, they're going to help Cracker Barrel do one of their sides. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's baked beans or something like that. So think about the number of Cracker Barrels around the country. And what they do is they manufacture that, put it in a bag, send it it gets distributed to the store. It's a menu item now. So it's constantly repeating. The first order just to get that out, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars just for their first order. So think of the residual. That's the other thing you need to be thinking about when you think about our return on investment. Is this just a one-time, they're buying something and that's it, that customer is gone? Or is it starting to, does it have, for example, if you're doing a campaign for a college, right? You're trying to get kids to go to college. Is it the first year's tuition or is it the 4 years tuition, right? It's the 4 years tuition. There's that residual. So you can't just look at, oh, they bought this and it didn't work. Are you going to convert them into a customer and is it ongoing? So always be thinking about that when you're trying to price these things. Don't sell yourself short. You guys are a solution. And you need to help them put it all together. Now, the one thing I will tell you, big watch out. Make sure, my big mistake I made one of the first times was I just did a campaign and I just assumed that the salespeople at the company was going to follow up. I mean, call me crazy. I thought that was going to happen. You have to make sure you enroll the sales team, and you need to kind of in a passive aggressive way, let them know that you're tracking if they're following up, because you can track it and you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a list every week and let me know how your sales reps are doing. We want to quantify the return on investment. What you're going to find, a lot of salespeople, unfortunately, don't follow up. And then they say, your campaign didn't work. And then you can say, I usually say one of two things. Well, let's talk about that. And I said, if you want me to close the deal, it's going to cost more. So don't forget the execution of the follow-up to the leads that they're going to get from that campaign. You've got to think about system-wide, not just your input in it.
So I see Brett agreeing with you there, Cece, saying most salespeople will only do 2 touches max. I mean, that's sinful, Brett. And I think Cece would obviously agree with that. I still see a lot of you here. So Ken, William, Adam, Amy, Anna, Andy, just looking through the list here. Wayne, Tony, Todd, Tim, Stacy, Ralph. What are your questions? You have Cece here. You have the MindFire team. We're officially 10 minutes past when we said we'd keep you, Cece. So hopefully it doesn't ruin the rest of your schedule. We appreciate you being here. No. LinkedIn folks, what do you have on your mind? What do you want to know? Mackenzie, are there any other questions that you've seen so far that you think we've missed that we haven't hit on yet?
I've crossed all my questions that I noted off the list. So
okay.
As of now, but if I did miss your question, it's possible, I'm human. So just feel free to go over to the chat or in LinkedIn and repaste your question there, where we're monitoring all of your chat. So I want to make sure that I get all those questions. So if there is something that I missed, please go over there and ask it.
Phil, you got to run. No problem, folks. If you have to leave, not a problem. Let's see, what does Gene say here? I want to thank you, Cece, Joe, David, and Mackenzie for taking the time to present today. The subject line is the same for as long as I can remember. However, the mindset and tools have changed.
Amen.
Repetition is really the key with fresh and innovative solutions and using technology along with older methods to the fullest. Well said, Gene.
Yep.
Amy says, great presentation. Thank you to all. Thank you, folks. If you have to leave, please just say goodbye on the way out. Eileen says, best event yet, CCC. I told you it'd be the best yet. Yeah. Love all of this. So many notes taken. Thank you, Cece and MindFire. Sharon says, thank you all. Dar says, thank you, Cece, David, Mackenzie. Katie says, thank you to everybody. Thank you, folks. And obviously, we appreciate you being here with us, spending time with us on a Friday. Craig says, outstanding. Larry says, excellent to everyone. Jean's wishing us a healthy seasonal holiday. Thank you, Jean. Michael says, I forgot to let the horses out of the barn this morning. He's got to go. First time I've heard that one, but yeah, absolutely do it, Michael.
Dog. Sorry, I got to watch my dog.
Okay, here's one from Adam.
Question.
You ready?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cece.
Adam asks,
yeah,
what are the key things I should look for if we need the marketing person to lead this transition for a printer?
Great question. You know, I tell my staff this all the time. I look at the individual and their skill set, not necessarily what they know, because I can train them on what they need to know. Now I know marketing, so I can train them, but there are so many young people coming out that are super excited about marketing. I would look for somebody that has not that they have to be able to do InDesign and all that stuff, but have a creative mind, problem solving. I would also stay away from people that like just love social media, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about total solutions. So try to think of somebody that loves to solve problems for companies, that they've got a business mindset, not a products or not a solution, not a technical mindset. But there are some good, hardworking. All my staff is great, but one of my hires was brand new, fresh out of school, and she was just creative. She was just wanted to help. She wanted to help solve problems for clients, and she's fantastic.
You know what? Let me throw that question over to Joe. Joe, you've worked with thousands of organizations, helping them do exactly what Adam's talking about. Do you see anything differently that maybe Cece didn't articulate there, or is there another view that you think would be useful to everybody here around, what kind of person they should be looking for?
Yeah, I think they come in all sizes and shapes depending on the company's need. But number one, the leadership team has to be committed process and fully support it. I can't tell you how many times that we've had brilliant young men and women come into an organization, work their butts off, and management wasn't supporting them. I mean, it's got to be a company effort, and especially now in COVID, again, any leadership team, I just posted this on LinkedIn a week ago, any leadership team that isn't fully committed to everything we've talked about today, you need your heads examined, period. I don't mind saying it. So in this day and age, support them, get those young men and women in, be very clear on what the objectives are. Don't overtask them. I need these things to happen. We have to generate new leads for our services, and we got to stay close to our customers, reminding them all the innovative things we can do for them. You do those two things, your revenues will grow in 2021.
So here's another idea. When you're looking for a marketing person, and I do this, when I'm interviewing, I say, I want you to look at my company. I want you to tell me what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well, and where do you see there's opportunity. You don't have to give me a big old long drawn out presentation plan. I just want you to come back and have a conversation. What am I doing well? What should I do differently? And if they come back and just say, oh, well, I looked at your LinkedIn and I like your picture, that's not the word. If they come in and say, well, what are you trying to accomplish? I need to know more about your target market. If they start asking questions like about your customer and their needs, that's the kind of person you're looking for. You don't want somebody who's just going to be tactical. You want somebody who's looking at it from a solution standpoint. So let them evaluate yours. The other thing is, I'm going to throw the same thing back. If you're not the leadership in your company and you're going to go talk to, God bless them, the people that started print a long time ago and are just weary, and you need to explain to them, I want you to say to them, what's the value of a new person that we bring on to you, and how much do they have to generate? Well, if they're going to go ahead and do your own marketing, that's a key. So that's time off of other. If they're going to be able to bring in business, how much would it have to take for us to that person to pay off? Turn that investment of that person back into that question to your owner. And I would tell you, you've got to talk to them about every owner thinks about, if I bring somebody on, am I going to be able to pay for them, and are they going to pay for themselves? That's how we think.
Adam is saying, awesome advice. Thank you so much. One follow-up from Adam is, what timeline should we give them to really start to see results? Let me throw that over to you, Cece, first, and then Joe, let's hear your thoughts.
Depends on the campaign. Actually, the minute you push out your first, I'm assuming are you talking about a campaign, or are you talking about the individual marketing person?
I think Adam's talking about the individual marketing person, but yeah, Adam, let us know what you're referring to.
If it is the individual marketing person, they should come with some ideas, and they're not going to be perfect. These people will not be perfect, but they should come energized and thinking, well, the first thing we need to do is we need to clean up our own social media. And the second thing we need to do is we need to update our own website. Or, do we have a good brochure? Do we have a database? Those kind of things. Let them clean house first. Give them some time. Get working on your own self-promotion. Once they do that, if they do nothing else for the rest of the year, that's amazing in the first place. So start to see onboarding of external clients, but hearing, okay. So I think I answered that.
Okay.
So they're not going to be perfect. They just have to have the right mindset, and they've got to be hungry, and they've got to be excited about it.
Joe, did you want to add something on that?
Yeah, I think if you're building marketing for your own organization, you've got to give at least 6 months to get some real good, solid results. You'll see immediate open rates, things that Mackenzie was talking about for email. You'll see those trends that tell you whether or not you're resonating with your target audience, but you need a 6-month minimum. And so anyway, yeah. There you go.
One last thing, measure them. Make sure you're measuring, put metrics in. Okay, so have them create a plan. What are they going to do for the first month? Okay, you're going to do this. I want to see, did we get a database cleaned up? When was that done? Have them create a plan and measure them.
Yep. I'm throwing up the training slide again, Mackenzie. I had this up earlier, but just Adam's question and a few others made me think, folks, if you're wondering, maybe you have somebody that you have in mind that fits some of the characteristics that Cece's describing, or if you've got somebody that you want to invest in, or somebody maybe that you just hired, or maybe it's even just for you and you want to learn all of these things. We do have training, a 6-week training course. We have other trainings available as well, but this particular one will kind of help you understand the lay of the land as it pertains to Optichannel and how to use it to begin to grow leads that drive sales. So if you're interested in finding out more about that training, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. Gene is saying, also, if you are well adapted to today's savvy socialization, but hit a brain block, don't be afraid to ask for help from an older solutionist. They are your strong foundation to help open new opportunities using current ideas.
Nice.
That's great feedback. And I'll tell you what, I think it's evident Joe and I both like to talk. We spend a lot of time talking to each other. I'm happy and several of the people that were on this call today, I'm happy if you have an idea and you just want to run some ideas by me, let's get on a call, let's talk. I'm just, that's kind of part of the go giver. Hey, I'm going to give and I'm just going to do because it's the right thing to do to help you grow your business. Somewhere down the road, it'll come back to me. Maybe not from you, but God always blesses you in some way. So if you have an idea or want to talk, I'm happy to just brainstorm with you.
Thank you, Cece.
Yeah,
and I'm sure people will take you up on that.
Yeah, there's someone else here, Nicholas S, saying, I'm getting some print inquiries. How do I find a print partner? I told him that Cece can help you out. So Cece, is it cool with you if we share your contact information, or is there someone contact information we should share so that people can reach out to you?
Absolutely.
And perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can give my cell phone. I don't care. Which is
all right, folks. So you have Dave here, you have Joe who's still here, Mackenzie, and of course Cece. I still see many of you here in the Zoom room. You're probably just staying on because you don't want to miss some brilliant insight or idea that's going to open up new revenue opportunities for you. But if you have something in your mind, or if you're over there on LinkedIn and you have a question, if you just jumped in, or if you've been here for a little bit with us and there's something that we haven't answered, we'll stick around for a few more minutes. Drop it in there in the chat. Let us know what you have. Kamisha is saying that she's probably going to follow up with you, Cece. Fantastic. Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, just one quick point for any customers, still on the line. I spend my whole day meeting with customers, helping them with strategies, tactics to either achieve a marketing program success like what Cece's done, or self-promotion success. So if you haven't gotten on my calendar, Jess is on the call today. Just drop a note and say, get me scheduled. Jess will take care of that. But don't do it alone. I mean, everybody on our team exists to help you achieve success. And the smart customers like Cece spend time with us, and she's brilliant by herself. And then they use us and they grow. So don't be a stranger. And Dave, I've got to run. I've got another appointment. Thank you, Cece. I love you. And thanks for everything you guys do.
Here's an interesting question. Thank you, Joe. And folks, give Joe some love. Say thank you, Joe, in the chat. Joe's the man over there in LinkedIn and Zoom. Show Joe some love. A wealth of knowledge to all of our clients. And Cece, here's a question from George asking if Smith Print uses MindFire.
Yes, they do on occasions. I'll be very frank with you. My husband's an old print guy. I'm just being really transparent, but my boys are like, Mom, we got to do a campaign. I'm like, yeah, I know we do. But we did a really cool one time with a Christmas, with one of the convertible solutions. We did a campaign asking people what their favorite kind of Christmas cookie was, and we delivered their favorite kind of Christmas cookie to them. So yes,
can you hold that up again? What was that?
We did this. It's been a couple years ago. We had a campaign. It was with Look Who's Cooking. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
But we sent out a campaign and we asked the people, what's your favorite Christmas cookie? We gave them 3 options. And we asked them, if you had to pick a theme for Christmas, would it be a Hanukkah? Would it be a reindeer? Would it be the nativity scene? Whatever. And then we asked them, what's your goals for whatever year it was. And they filled it out. We sent out a postcard. I don't have the postcard anymore. But we sent out a postcard with a personal URL. People went there, they filled it out. And then I think we had like 275 names. We had 47 people fill it out. And then what we did, kind of the Christmas cookie thing I'm doing this afternoon, we printed on demand, it'll say to whoever it was in the theme that they wanted. And then inside we had courier do them their favorite Christmas cookies that I made. That's how stupid I am sometimes. But this is the kind of stuff that I did for Smith Print. 47 people that said they told us, they need a new brochure, they need a new station, need a new brand, need a new website, whatever.
We have Ira saying, "Hey, I'm an old print guy. I resemble that remark."
Ira, we need to talk. We need to talk. There is, and you know, my husband, he's a wonderful man. But you know, after making payroll, Ira, you probably know, after making payroll for so many years,
you're tired.
It's hard. Yeah, you're tired. It's hard. I get it.
Yeah, Ira's also a golfer. Fantastic. It sounds like a match made in heaven.
My husband.
Yeah. Philip is saying he missed the first part of this. So Philip, you're going to get a recording. Everyone will get a recording and a bunch of follow-up materials that you can peruse, and also saying I would like to speak with you, or maybe all of you. So yeah, Philip, I just sent you the link. Go over there so we don't drop the ball on you. We get it scheduled. Go in there, fill that out, and we'll get some time on the calendar to make sure we talk. Commission comes from print as well. Yeah, we have a lot of print folks here. Well, shoot, we've been here almost, we've been here more than 2 hours, given that we started a little bit early, but wonderful that you're all still here. What else is on your mind? I don't want to hold Cece too much longer. Please.
I'm
okay,
good.
Thank you. give us your thanks to Cece. If you've got to drop out, just say goodbye and say thank you to Cece. And if you're over there on LinkedIn, please let us know if you have any questions. Mackenzie and others are there still on LinkedIn. I see James is here, Jennifer, Greg, George, Jean, Eric, I think from the Netherlands, if I recall.
Get out.
Yeah. Elizabeth, Todd, Wayne, Tim, Sean, Robin. Robin is here, Mackenzie. Nicholas, Mike, Coin is here. All right. Mark is saying, thank you, Cece. Thanks to you all. Mackenzie, I think you're muted. Were you trying to say something?
I was muted. I actually emailed Robin and literally said, if you attend one webinar, you make it this one, because Cece is the woman you need to learn from.
Was that your subject line? If you attend one webinar, it's got to be this one?
No.
Okay.
That's too long. It said, if you have time, join this webinar now. We'll be good for you. That was literally the subject line.
Nice. Okay, here's one from George.
Yeah.
When you first started the marketing agency, did you have to outsource social media besides MindFire? Do you understand that question, Cece?
Yeah, okay. I do. How did I first start? So when I first started, it was myself and Shauna Forkenbrock, who's she's actually driving, and so she's not able to completely connect, but she's texting me. And we started, and she knew social media. She came from, get this, I hired her because she was a communications marketing person for a church. She had all the skill sets, right? She knew how to do social media. She was a great writer. She makes great barbecue also, just so you know that. And the thing I loved about Shauna, literally the first day she came on board, I said, hey, I got this thing called MindFire. I have no idea what to do. Will you? She was like, I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out. That's the kind of person you want to hire. And so that's how we started. And then I brought on, let me see, I'm looking at this. And then I brought on Katie, the beautiful one over here, with the beautiful red lips all the way to the left. She's on right now. She's been with me a long time. I think the reoccurring thing here is I didn't go out and hire somebody specifically because they were really good at social media. I went out and hired people who wanted to serve our clients and who wanted to work as a team and are willing to dig in and learn. Katie is a self-taught, Google certified, SEO expert, advertising expert, all completely on her own. I helped fund it, little things here and there, but I had a great team, and that's how I did it. So we just kind of, it became organic. And then when we joined with ToolBox, the one person left from ToolBox, and this was kind of a funny thing. When I bought ToolBox, they were kind of in this old agency mindset. And we're like, hey, things got to happen fast, right? And they're like, oh, it's going to take us 6 weeks to get a brochure done. I'm like, hell no, we need it in a week, The only person left from that team is Stacy. And she's in that picture. She was right next to Katie. She's been with ToolBox for 22 years. The reoccurring theme here is when the people you want to load onto your team are people who say, I don't know how to do it, but I'm willing to do it.
Say that again. Say it again. Preach it.
Yeah. I mean, you want people who have the great attitude, who want to serve.
Yep.
You know what's so funny about that, Cece? I actually texted. So everyone at the background, there's a lot of people on the back who are chatting, engaging, and helping you. And Cece's talking about being a self-starter, right? And I literally texted Dave like 30 minutes ago saying, and I quote, "Katie is a rock star, picked it up so quickly, followed all instructions, and even got creative to do a hot tip if she saw I did a key takeaway." So that's literally the manifestation of what you just said. A self-starter who picks it up and is willing to just, all right, here's what I got to try. Because there's not always going to be a manual or a playbook or, hey, here, do this, this, and this. You got to be able to just start, do something.
Yeah. And you know what? You got to empower them to do it. I mean, many of you don't have the marketing background. So you need to say to them, hey, we're going to learn this together, and they're going to fail, and they're going to learn, and they're going to need things, but it's about empowering them to do what you need them to do. And if you need to send them to a class, if they need a special software, get it for them. But find the right person who's got the attitude of service and who wants to learn.
Brett is saying this was awesome. Brett, I'd love to know which part of this was awesome. What was the most helpful part to you? You failed by not doing anything. Yep. Yeah, Brett, thank you for that.
And can I just give a little plug now? If you are a passionate marketer, sales professional, someone who wants to be involved in the implementation or the sales process of what Cece's talking about, there are so many great companies, including MindFire, that are hiring for these positions right now. If you're like, hey, you're describing me, I am that person, but I just haven't been given the opportunity to do all those things. Again, people are hiring, including us. So we would love to talk to you and help you find a home, whether that's with us or Cece or any other company, because you have so much to give and you should find a home that's going to appreciate you giving. Let me say that again. You have so much to give and you should find a home that's going to appreciate you giving. And right now is a great time to find those homes. So
it is a great time. People are looking for good people. So
you're getting some feedback there, Mackenzie. That's cool. Brett is saying the direct mail campaigns, thinking outside of the box with the knives and the dishes. Yep. Very, very creative. Really creative. Well, ladies, since it's the two of you that are here still with me, let's wait another maybe 30 seconds or so. See if there are any other questions that come in. Folks, I hope this has been useful to you. As I said at the beginning, this is one of many in a series of sessions that we've done. Certainly, it seems like folks, as I told you, Cece, just absolutely loved their time with you today. If you've missed any of the prior sessions and you would like to get a recording, if you want to talk more about what you've heard today, if you want to learn how to do this for your own company, if you want to connect with Cece, anything that's on your mind that we can help you with, like I said, we've got time on the calendar, mindfiremarketing.com/yes. Go there, fill in the form, let us know what you're thinking. What do you need help with? How can we help you? And we'd love to be able to talk to you. George says, thank you. This was an answer to prayer. Interesting. Thank you, George. Kamisha says she started giving her number out, but she didn't. So yeah, go ahead, Cece.
I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Sorry,
You're going to put it there in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, she'll put it there in the chat. There it is. Cindy says, thank you, MindFire, Joe, and Cece. Also enjoyed Mackenzie's comments, passions, and insights. I will be in touch. Best session for me to date. Awesome, Cindy. What a wonderful testimonial. And there's Cece's email address. Craig is saying, great job. Cool.
Hey, check out our website. We just launched it. We're very excited about it. It's all about case studies. So
before we end, I'll go for you first, Mac, and then Cece, or Mackenzie. I call her Mac, everyone. Are there any final closing words that you want to give everyone before we end today?
The only final closing words are that if this is important to you, it needs to start with you, right? You can't be waiting around for someone else to start this at my company or my first client to come on board or this or this. If something's a priority to you, you take responsibility to make it action and make it actionable. And that's something that we saw in Cece. I'm telling you, I will never forget. She walked on the show floor in D-Scoop. She literally came up to our booth and was like, you're going to help me grow my business and help my clients get more clients and get more business. And I said, yeah. And she said, I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to commit to it. And I right now in this booth, without knowing any details, are going to sign up. Yeah. So she took that leap of faith and invested in herself. Yeah. And if you want to make this happen, talking isn't going to do anything, right? You need to have your feet match your mouth. So take action, follow in Cece's footsteps, and make it a priority, because look at where she's at now. It came from dedication, hard work, time, investment. Things aren't always good. It's not always easy. I'm sure Cece's got tough days, you know, and she continues to show up and make it happen. So if you want to make it happen, take responsibility and do it yourself, just like Cece has.
You know, a couple of years ago, I lost one of my biggest clients. It was a very, very, very bad year for me. And Joe called me up one day, what's going on? I told him, and he helped pick me up and got me back on track. And I give a lot of credit to them because, you know, he just checks in every once in a while, and he's always there if I need him. But, you know, he gave me the motivation. So I encourage you to get somebody to kind of hold you accountable, be part of, get on this chat group, and, you know, have somebody kind of mentor you through it if you need it or something. But there's enough print out there for all of us, right?
Amen.
But there's a lot more marketing solutions. Everybody needs marketing solutions.
Amen.
And guess what? You can make money on those other services too. So it doesn't have to be just print. So.
Well, thank you, Cece. Again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you spending now over 2 hours with us. And as you folks know, there's a lot of time that goes into preparing the materials. If you want the presentation, the examples, the video, the resources, everything that we've covered today, that'll come out to you later today or over the weekend. You'll get an email from us, and you'll have all of those resources. You can go back and watch it. And I really appreciate all of you being here. I know it's not an insignificant amount of time to put on your calendar. Thank you for doing that, especially on a Friday. If you want to be on our next event, you know where to find us. Connect on LinkedIn, follow us, and let's make sure that we stay connected. Cece, I'll give you the final word.
I just want each of you guys to know that it's about working together, and it's about staying committed, and it's about staying focused, and don't give up. You're going to fail. Don't give up. But if there's nothing else if you don't walk away with anything else, promote yourself, market yourself. Your competitors around you probably have really crappy websites. Probably they're all focused on, you know, the lowest price. It's a commodity. Get out of the commodity game, and just do what's right for you. Start with a marketing campaign and just keep going. Keep going. Don't stop.
All right. Well, with that, I can't add anything better than that. Thank you all. Thank you, Cece, again. Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Suzanne, the whole MindFire team, ToolBox team that's behind the scenes. But most importantly, thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll be reaching out, getting you all the resources. Stay tuned. You'll hear from us. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.